And this is the title poem of that book, which was also the first poem written. And it was the first poem I had written in a very, very, very long time. And all poems have their triggers, especially if you have been long silent. I was reading a book by John Berger, the novelist, and I came on the word escarpment, and I remembered I used to use that word. I used to know what it applied to. And I looked it up and I read about it, and I thought, that's my book. I can write a book about that word. And that was my experience, that I wrote a book about that word. So this is called A Village Life. And the speaker here is, in fact, a speaker who's appeared before. The mountain figures in many of these poems, and the neighbor is also in several. A Village Life. The death and uncertainty that await me as they await all men. The shadows evaluating me because it can take time to destroy a human being. The element of suspense needs to be preserved. On Sundays, I walk my neighbor's dog so she can go to church to pray for her sick mother. The dog waits for me in the doorway. Summer and winter, we walk the same road. Early morning at the base of the escarpment. Sometimes the dog gets away from me. For a moment or two, I can't see him behind some trees. He's very proud of this trick he brings out occasionally and gives up again as a favor to me. Afterward, I go back to my house to gather firewood. I keep in my mind images from each walk. Monarda growing by the roadside. In early spring, the dog chasing the little gray mice. So for a while it seems possible not to think of the hold of the body weakening, the ratio of the body to the void shifting, and the prayers becoming prayers for the dead. Midday, the church bells finished. Light in excess. Still fog blankets the meadow, so you can't see the mountain in the distance, covered with snow and ice. When it appears again, my neighbor thinks her prayers are answered. So much light she can't control her happiness. It has to burst out in language. Hello, she yells, as though that is her best translation. She believes in the Virgin the way I believe in the mountain, though in one case the fog never lifts. But each person stores his hope in a different place. I make my soup. I pour my glass of wine. I'm tense like a child approaching adolescence. Soon it will be decided for certain what you are. One thing, a boy or girl. Not both any longer. And the child thinks, I want to have a say in what happens. But the child has no say whatsoever. When I was a child, I did not foresee this. Later, the sun sets, the shadows gather, rustling the low bushes like animals just awake for the night. Inside, there's only firelight. It fades slowly. Now only the heaviest woods still flickering across the shelves of instruments. I hear music coming from them sometimes, even locked in their cases. When I was a bird, I believed I would be a man. That's the flute. And the horn answers, when I was a man, I cried out to be a bird. Then the music vanishes, and the secret it confides in me vanishes also. In the window, the moon is hanging over the earth, meaningless but full of messages. It's dead. It's always been dead, but it pretends to be something else, burning like a star, and convincingly so that you feel sometimes it could actually make something grow on earth. If there's an image of the soul, I think that's what it is. I move through the dark as though it were natural to me, as though I were already a factor in it. Tranquil and still, the day dawns. On market day, I go to the market with my lettuces.